Well, aloha. It's good to be back in the sanctuary. For those of you who don't know me, some of you might not. Some of you wish that you probably don't. My name is Reverend Leavitt Thomas, and I have been a member of this beloved community since 1992. Amen. And after I was dismissed from several other churches because of my enthusiastic curiosity. Indeed. I arrived here in this place, Unity Church of Hawaii, and this movement, Unity, offered me an opportunity to heal and become who I've come here to be, which is, along with Chaplain Becker, a staff chaplain at Pacific Health Ministry, serving at Kaiser Moanalua Medical Center. It is really good to be here. Diana sends her best. She and I miss not being here. However, we have discovered that Lazy Boy Love Seat Church is pretty cool. So if you would like, she's watching. Let's turn around and give her a chakra and a wave. Yeah, she's watching. She's probably going to slap me upside the head when I get home. And also let you know that I did see Rev Tim before and after his surgery. He looked good going in. He looked better coming out. He's healing up as we speak with ease and grace. And one thing I would suggest that you don't do, because he is now the bionic man, I would not challenge him to arm wrestling. Only if you're lefty. But anyways, he's doing well. And I'm grateful for the opportunity to come and yak a little bit. Well, as you know me, I am a grumpy old man. Mow my lawn, now get off it. So I'd like to do a little old school Unity, if you don't mind. 12 Powers. Charles Fillmore is the co-founder of Unity. I lovingly call him Uncle Charlie. And in his book, 12 Powers, which is all about the 12 faculties and powers that we all have to utilize in how to live life. September happens to be the power of what? Outstanding. You've been paying attention. Andrew, the son of Alphaeus, is the disciple, and dark green is the color. Order is the outgrowth of our complete agreement and cooperation with spiritual law. Now, I love how Uncle Charlie wrote. Couldn't understand a word he said, but I really enjoyed how he wrote of the time. Whenever I read his books, and even to this day, I put a clear canvas in front of me, I read it, and a picture gets painted, and then I can get the meaning. He was brilliant. And I also like to throw in some other definitions that are a little bit more reasonable, so to speak. One is from the Merriam-Webster dictionary, and what was interesting was when I looked at this particular definition was fifth in line of order. I did not know there was that much order. I really didn't. But anyway, order, noun, the state of peace, freedom from confused or unruly behavior, and respect for law or proper authority. Sounds pretty reasonable to me. Now, going back to Uncle Charlie from the Revealing Word. Now, this is the extraordinary book he wrote. This is a metaphysical dictionary of common terms. He also wrote the Metaphysical Bible Dictionary, which is a metaphysical dictionary of pretty much every word in the Bible. This one is really cool because it's common terms. Both of them is highly needed if you're a unitic and a student of truth. From the Revealing Word, the divine idea of order is the idea of adjustment. And as this is established in man's thought, his mind and affairs will be at one with universal harmony. Once again, the great writing of Uncle Charlie. I imagine a picture of clouds. Then I imagine a gentle breeze and a picture of sunlight, adjustment to harmony. And I also discovered that an affirmation might be a little bit better to understand order. Order is established when we align and express our divine nature. Pretty simple, huh? Okay, let's take an offering. Time to go home. Okay, well, how do we do this? Well, I like asking the question, because when you ask the question, the answer usually leads to another question. And then the answer leads to another question, and you end up living in the question. It's really cool. Plus, I've had multiple concussions, so nothing is ever surprising to me. It's just, wow, that's kind of neat. So we asked a question, what's up? What's up? We're going to do a little upping today. Just a little bit of upping. Well, what is up? Order is alive and well in our lives, even if it does not appear to be. Order is there. It's up to us to establish that order in our lives. This didn't go anywhere. You didn't leave it at home. It comes with you. There you go. It doesn't. You don't put it on like a nice shirt. It comes with you. Order is always there, and we need to establish it in our lives. So the first up is it's time to wake up. Wake up. If you aren't awake yet, we're going to be awake in just a few minutes. Folks, we got to wake up from separation hibernation. We are asleep at the wheel most of the time, and that's all of us. All of us. None of us is immune to separation hibernation. We forget. The first two principles of unity. There is only one presence and one power active in the universe, and in my life, that is God the good. The second principle is being created in the image of God the good, human beings, therefore you and me and everybody else are inherently good and one with God the... Okay, you weren't paying attention. Got to wake up. We are one with God the good. One more time. Wake with God the... Thank you very much. And it's how it is. That is us. We are one with God, and yet we don't think we are. We're in this hibernation of separation. And it's time to discover samenality and commonality. Uncle Charlie was known for his right to change his mind. He said that quite often and did. I, too, will take that right to change my mind, and I will also take the right to make up words. In my medical school, yeah, I'm a doctor. If I ever walk in doing your surgery, you want to leave. In ministerial school, we did cradle papers. We did 7 of them, 7 questions, 7 papers, and then the 8th was a summary of the 7. Well, in mine, I was having a challenge with mine, and how many remember Nicholas Griffin? He was very direct and told me just to go write the paper with an adjective in there from Pirate Talk. And it came to me, but I made up 11 words in it. And the coolest thing, not only did I make up 11 words, they fit perfectly in the cradle papers, and I had definitions. Amazing. So I make up words. Samenality. Samenality is our sameness. It is what connects us. It's our divine nature. It connects us. It connects every being. That's our samenality. We are one. Namaste. The divine in me beholds the divine in you. We are one in spirit. It's our samenality. Now, our commonality is our humanity, our human nature, also called the ego. Its definition of ego is human nature. This is where we get in trouble. Our ego, God bless our ego. We need it. It's important. It keeps us safe. When we are entering a situation we don't know, it goes to the subconscious Rolodeck. It starts whipping through the files to try to find something that it can relate to help us get through. And then if it doesn't, it stands up big and says, don't. It saves us. It's attempting to save us, when in actuality, it's holding us back from becoming who we've come here to be. It tries, God bless it, but it's easing God out. It's only our ego's only obligation, has one obligation, and it is to express God only. Its only obligation is to express God only. We need to understand that and allow that to be. And we can do that with looking versus seeing. When we look, we get what appears to be. When we see, we get what is. When we look, we get what appears to be. But when we see, we get what is. Now, when I look around, I see a bunch of folks that don't look like me. But what I see is everyone's divinity. But when we don't see, we get caught up in the differences. Our diverse expression of our divine nature is our greatest asset. And yet, many of us don't see it that way. We see someone who doesn't look like me, doesn't act like me, doesn't believe like me as the other. Because we look, we're not seeing. When I look at you, it is God I see. When I look in a mirror, I see God as me. And when I look out into this room, I see an extraordinary, diverse eyes of God looking back at what is seeing it. I don't see anything other than that. We are different, but we're the same. And the expression of that sameness is what's important. We have different thoughts. We have come from different cultures. This all helps us all to make better decisions. When we get together, minds are great. All these minds coming together, we can make better decisions when we see our sameness and celebrate our diversity. Got to wake up. So everybody stretch out. How's that feel? How's that good, huh? Does that feel good? Okay, we woke up. Okay, what's the next up? Oh, I'm a heavy finger. We're going to wise up now. A wise guy, eh? Every now and then, Curly Howard will speak to you. Did you guys know, a little side note, that Mo, Curly, and Shemp were all blood brothers? Yes, blood brothers. Can you imagine the parents that brought that into the world? I mean, what was that like? And then Larry Feinberg, as a matter of fact, their name was Horowitz. Mo was Harry Horowitz, Shemp was Samuel Horowitz, and Curly was Jerome Horowitz. They changed their name to Howard because in those times, the 30s and 20s, having that last name, they were thought of as the what? The other. Don't get me going. And Larry Fine, his name was Feinberg, and he was a #1 concert violinist. Anyway, it's a good little example about, I didn't have it for the commonality and samenality, but it works. Okay, we're going to wise up now. September, not only is it order, but it's also the birth month of my dad. Look at that haircut. You can land a plane on that haircut. Yeah. That's G. Merrill Thomas II. And he had what I would easily say is an insatiable thirst for learning. Insatiable. He went to normal college, University of Maine, Philistines, Federal, Maine, till the rafters ring. I went there too, but I don't remember a lot of it. I went. Had a great time. But he was a civil engineer with an MBA, so he was really smart, very intelligent man. However, he just could not get enough of learning. He'd read magazines and newspapers and books, and his favorite thing was the Christian Science Monitor. And he'd go to their reading room all the time. He was just reading and learning. And he'd get enthusiastic about learning and would think that, well, if I'm excited about it, everybody ought to be. He had what was called the Chowder Society. It was a group of friends that would meet for lunch once a month. And we would go, when I was still living in Maine, I would go and meet with his friends and him. And what he would do beforehand is he'd get this article that just excited him no end. I mean, just through the roof excitement. And he'd photocopy and send it to all of us so we could read it and then be ready for the discussion at the table. I read the article, was lost after the third sentence. Had absolutely no idea what it was. And I was trying to draw the picture thing like Uncle Charlie. There ain't no picture coming up. This was just, I had no idea what this was about. But what I did know was that Dad would be able to explain it to us. Because he had an extraordinary ability to read a room and then talk to the room, not at the room. So we'd all meet and have chowder, of course. And by the way, nobody here makes chowder. I went from mother to chowder. I had no chowder. We'd all meet, and then Dad, of course, would hold court, and he would explain it to us. Now, did we get an understanding? Yes. Were we in any zip code of his enthusiasm about the article? Not close. But the point is that living is learning. Living is learning. And to learn what gets you excited, what is it that you're enthusiastic about? Go learn about it. Because learning is living, and the more we know, the more we grow. I'm excited a little bit about, me and Diana both, we get excited about the galaxy, the universe, the asteroids, the planets, the space travel, stars, and all that kind of stuff. Get very excited about it. We watch all the shows, what's happening in the universe, how the universe works, the strange stuff in the universe. Any of that is must-see TV for us. Watch it all the time. I'm just enthralled. I was going to be an astronaut, but I'll tell you about that a little bit later. What you might not know is something extraordinarily exciting is finishing today. And this is really, really cool for me. Anyway, there was a probe launched in September of 2016 called the OSIRIS-REx. Now, this thing wasn't very big. It was probably maybe 8 feet by 4 or something, not very big. But it got launched from Earth and got sent into space. Its mission was to go find the asteroid Bennu. Right. Okay, let's recap. A little teeny probe gets launched into space to go find an asteroid in a galaxy that's full of asteroids. This particular one was 200 million miles away. Not only did OSIRIS-REx find Bennu, when it got there, it hung out for a while. And it had these extraordinary cameras that were laser cameras. And it could actually geographically map the surface of Bennu. And not only could it map the surface of Bennu, it also could determine the chemical properties of the surface. Yeah, wow. This is really cool. We're not done. It was so smart that it mapped the whole place, had mapped Bennu, and then it found on Bennu the best place to get a sample of the surface. Okay, recap. 20 million miles away, finds an asteroid that's moving at 50,000 miles an hour, and it's rotating. Yeah, this is awesome. Okay, OSIRIS-REx finds this spot, and then it gets close, retracts an arm, goes down on Bennu, grabs a bunch of surface material, retracts the arm, puts that canister into a recovery capsule on it, folds up nice and neat, bids Bennu a fond adieu, and then scurries back home. Did I mention it's 200 million miles away? Okay, and today, folks, at a little bit before 11 in the morning Eastern time, OSIRIS-REx showed up, and it launched its sample canister recovery capsule, and it successfully landed in Utah. Incredible. And the scientists they know that the stuff that's in this from Bennu holds, get this, holds the beginnings of life, the workings of life. Yeah, this is so cool. Incredible. And it happened today. It started in 2016 and it ended today. But what this is about for me like Dad did, and Dad showed me, was find something that excites you and learn all about it. I did mention I wanted to be an astronaut, right? Yeah. Then I went and I saw the Freedom 7 space capsule, and I saw the hatch. And I realized that my eclipse-sized head wouldn't fit in the hatch. Kind of took the little damper off the astronaut thing. And then they had Gemini, which had 2 hatches that were kind of big. And I said, well, they ain't very big. And then Apollo, they put 3 people in that and kind of stuffed them in there. And I go, but then there was the space shuttle. That's like a inter-island jet plane. I can fit in that. So, in my vast wisdom, I Googled NASA. And I filled out the application to be one of those mission specialists. Yep, I was so excited. The application was 30-plus pages long. All I could fill out was the contact information, my name, my address, my phone number, my email, and then on the last page there was a comment box. So I thought to myself, this is where I got him. This is where I get him, right here. Because I was perfect to be a mission specialist. I was a 2-for-1 experiment in space. Hair growth and weight loss and 0 gravity. Who wouldn't want to go for that? Hair growth, weight loss, 0 gravity. What a bargain. 2-for-1. Apparently, my enthusiasm was not shared by NASA. I did not hear back. However, what I do know, at least I'm assuming, that page was printed out and posted on every bulletin board in the organization. And even now, I look up and wave and say, because I know someone's waving back. And another way that we wise up, because learning is living, and the more we know, the more we grow. Now, for us here on Earth, one of the greatest things we can do is to learn who we are and who we are not. And this process, the quantum living practice, is an extraordinary way of doing that. I'm so grateful that this beloved organization has adopted this practice. It is a great way to discover who we are and who we are not. And discover that who we are is in a lover's dance with who we are not, and it's up to us to say who's leading. This is an extraordinarily transformational process. It changed my life. It still does. If you haven't taken it, please take it. If you've taken it, take it again and again. I think Reverend Margie's got one going on right now. But check unityhawaii.org for the next one coming. And please, I highly invite you to take this process. It is extraordinary. You discover that when we showed up, we knew we were the one. We absolutely knew it. And you know what, kids? We still know that. And yet we go into separation, hibernation, and forget. Now, we're young. We know we're the one. And then as we grow older, we get influenced. Sometimes good intentioned, sometimes not so good intentioned. By parents, siblings, grandparents, family, friends, coaches, teachers, co-workers, and society and the world in general. And we make up a myth about ourselves. And usually the foundation of the myth is not enough. I'm not tall enough, I'm not good enough, I'm not smart enough, I don't have enough. Not enough, not enough, not enough. Excuse me. We're the beloved of God, created in the image and likeness of God. We are inherently good, and we are one with God the... Therefore, we are more than worthy. And yet, when something comes in front of us, we don't see that it's before us is for us. And nothing and no one is against us. We go to our default, which is, I'm not enough. Friends, we are more than enough. And this process determines, you get to determine for yourself your quantum qualities, who you've come here to be, and your shadow qualities, who you are not. And I told you, these two are dancing in a lover's dance. And the one that leads, that choice is up to you and me. I prefer to let my quantum qualities dance, if you don't mind. Because I like going to the Heavenly Hotel. I like eating at the Bountiful Buffet. I enjoy a single malt scotch at the Prosperous Pub. I'm tired of going to the Misery Motel, eating at the Boohoo Buffet, and having some bar scotch at the Woe Is Me Lounge. Been it, done it, not anymore. I'm going to live in my quantum qualities because that's who I've come here to be. You learn that there's triggers. You don't need to be triggered. That's what you learn. Again, learning is living. The more you know, the more you grow. Okay, now it's time to act up. I'm pretty good at this, too. Oh, by the way, where's my adult supervision? Is there any in the room? Oh, yeah, right, almost. I told Tim I'd behave. Okay, then. I fibbed. Okay, we're going to act up. This is the fifth principle of unity, which means it's not enough to just know spiritual truths. We must put them into expression in all we think, do, and say. Action is essential. A lot of other places just want you to be able to say them. In this organization and in this movement, when you be them, you're living fully. Be these principles. We must be them. And how do we do that? Scripture. I'm not a biblical scholar by any means. My Bible history was one that it was, I have trauma. This place is healing me from that. It was used more of a weapon in my early days than it was now. However, I do have Scripture. I read Scripture all the time. My favorite Bible is the Lamsa Aramaic translation. I love George Lamsa. He was a brilliant man. And again, with Uncle Charlie, I reserve the right to change my mind. I also reserve the right to make things up and to make up words. So I have a translation of my own. It's the Rev Lev translation. And Micah 6:8 goes something like this. How to live is really simple. We are to have compassion for and be kind to ourselves and others. Be generous with unconditional love. And get out of God's way and be the way. Extremely simple, boys and girls. Why do we make it excruciatingly difficult? Because we can. We can also make it easy. At the Last Supper, and I love it called the Last Supper because where I grew up in Maine, supper was the evening meal. Dinner was the noon meal on Sunday where you sat at the table. Supper was supper. I love the Last Supper. Now, I wasn't there, although some of you may think I was, and I could have been. Maybe I was the busboy or something. I don't know. I might have been there. However, Jesus said something to the effect of, I have done some cool stuff. You will do greater things. I've done some pretty neat stuff, but you will do greater things. Now, he just wasn't talking to the 12 that were there, plus all the women that we never talk about. Don't get me going. I know. He was talking to all of us. And by the way, the women, that thing wouldn't have happened without the women. It just wouldn't have. Nothing would have happened without the women. Nothing did happen without the women. As a matter of fact, I'm flying now. Somebody throw something. Where's the hook? This movement has extraordinary women in it, as ministers, as leaders, everywhere. There's just extraordinary. Myrtle, Auntie Myrtle. You know, I still say to this day that after she had that extraordinary healing experience, and Uncle Charlie sitting across the table from her, had to go read some more books before he could get proof. You know, Auntie Myrtle heard words. You are a beloved child of God. You do not inherit sickness. And after being told over and over and over as a child that her sickness was inherited, she said no. And then asked her body forgiveness for her thinking of it anything less than whole. And then affirmed that it was. In over a couple of years' time, she was cured. Now, Uncle Charlie, again, did the boy thing, I lovingly call it. He goes, that's pretty cool, but you know what? I need some more proof. So I think I'll study Eastern religions. I think I'll study science. I think I'll just study some more. And yeah. And then a little bit after that, you know what he does? He uses Myrtle's technique, and he himself has a remarkable healing experience. So, I have said this before and have not been struck down by lightning, so I'm going to say it again. Auntie Myrtle Fillmore is the founder of Unity, and Uncle Charlie took notes. Now, I'm grateful that Uncle Charlie did, because he wrote some extraordinary things, and, it's great. They were co-founders in this, and it wouldn't have happened without the both of them. But boy, I'm Auntie Myrtle, I tell you. And another thing, I entered the inaugural ministerial class at the National Ministerial Program right here at Unity National School Pacific Rim in, what year was that? Oh gosh, I don't remember. 2012. And went through the class, took 4 years. Well, it was a course of credit that I actually finished. Yay! And was recommended for ordination in UWM. Thanks, Tim, was on the board. Recommended me for ordination. I became ordained in 2016. Now, I am extremely honored and blessed to have 3 signatures on my ordination certificate. Reverend Karen Tudor, Reverend Donna Johnson, and Reverend Deborah Fraunfelder. Yes, indeed. We can have a hand for them. The extraordinary Unity women. Extraordinary Unity women. And speaking of the women, each one of us, no matter what identity we're born with, no matter what gender we're born with, no matter what gender we associate with, we both have male and female in us, the divine masculine and the divine feminine. And I'm going to prove it to you. Raise your left hand if you've been loving and kind at least once in your life. Don't lie to me. You're in church. I'm a minister. You've never been loving and kind in your life. Well, thank you so much. Okay, now keep that arm up. Keep an arm up. Now, raise your right hand if you've been strong and courageous. Look around. What do you see? Touchdown! Touchdown. Folks, for us to fulfill our purpose, this promise of purpose, we must be in alignment with our divine masculine and our divine feminine, no matter how we show up. That is the balanced life. That is fulfilling our promise of purpose. That is becoming who we've come here to be. I could not do the work as a hospital chaplain if I was not in tune fully to my divine feminine. You have both within you. Align with both. Live fully. And when we become who we've come here to be and do the greater things that are ours to do, we have fulfilled our promise of purpose, and then we get to experience what I call the joy of living. This experience you cannot describe. I cannot, because I'm living it. I'm in front of you. I stand in front of you right now living this, my joy of living. The closest thing, and when we put words on something, we have a tendency to limit it. The closest thing I can come to this is perpetually joyful. And that's not even in the time zone of what this experience is. Not close. And your joy of living is waiting patiently for you. You might be doing it now. If you're not, discover your gifts, discover your purpose, and then say yes. And allow everything to unfold in front of you, because Spirit will provide everything you need to fulfill your divine purpose, to live your joy of living, be who you've come here to be, and do the greater things that are yours to do. I guarantee it, because I stand in front of you and I have done it. Do it. Experience some of this. This is really cool. Perpetual joyfulness. Not even in the zip code of what it really feels like. So we've woken up from separation hibernation. We have wised up, knowing that learning is living. And the more we know, the more we grow. And we've acted up. We've discovered our purpose, our gift. We've been given our promise of purpose. We are fulfilling the promise of purpose, becoming who we've come here to be, and doing those greater things that must be done by us. Because, friends, you will not get off the planet until you do them. You want to experience your joy of living for a while, start now. Because you might get it for 30 seconds. You're going to get it. Guarantees. There's no way you're not. There's no way you're not. And remember, if we are living to leave a legacy, then we're not living fully. However, if one is left after we have lived, then we have fully lived.